Good morning and welcome back to Dower House Farms. We're a beef and crops farm in the south of Ireland. We aim to put up a video every day. Early start now this morning. They're coming spreading dung there at 8 o'clock and I'll be finished with the load all. So yeah, as you can see, it peed rain overnight on top of the straw we turned. But anyway, and these stupid bulls seem to be after pulling out the stopper of the water truck again. Oh, turn up the heat this morning, so we'll get the silage pushed in. We'll adjust the rations according to what's left over. Get the boys fed. So for anyone who isn't familiar with the channel, we aim to grow everything we feed to the cattle on the farm. We don't aim not to buy in anything. What I'm putting into the feeder here now is winter barley that was harvested a couple of weeks ago. I'll next put in winter barley straw that was harvested a couple of weeks ago. Then I'll put in a combination of barley and wheat whole crop that was harvested a couple of weeks ago. And then red clover silage, which is our protein source, you guessed it, harvested a couple of weeks ago. The manure from these cattle will then be spread on the land to grow the next crop. It's a circular system and it works well. This next thing I'm putting in is the only thing we buy in, and it's minerals to be added to the TMR. It contains buffer to keep the rumen right, and all these nice things to help keep rumen health on key. We get through about 200 kilos of barley straw every day. Barley straw slows down the passage of food through the rumen, so gives it more chance to absorb the nutrients. We use about 3 ton daily of this whole crop. It is our high energy silage, and it's very high in starch. These are bales of red clover silage, and we get through about 4 of these a day, and they're key to allowing us to be self-sustainable. The reason for this is these are really high protein forages, which allows us not to have to buy in any protein from other parts of the world. I've been here now for maybe a minute, patching up the teagle to get the cattle bedded down, and there has been 2 cattle, there's 3 now, got up to see what's going on. That's what we like to see. Nice and relaxed cattle lying down, putting on weight. We bed down all the cattle every morning. We use 2 round bales of straw every morning. Make sure they're comfortable and give as much time lying down as possible. One, 2 out of 60 cattle down here standing up, all relaxed, lying down, doing their thing, putting on weight. Back at dung there now again this morning. The high spec, and I think it's a 6R 175 today. The 250 isn't. Is that something else? That's the pile of dung. There's just the first load, 8 o'clock. So we'll see what time they get finished. I suppose there's about 250 ton there, 200 ton there, something like that. So 3 hours maybe. Going on there now with about 20 tons of the hectare. Nice big long 30-acre field. The man, Brian.
Brian's the man.
Good load up there now. Brought Brian on an old cup of Frank to keep him going for the morning. You must look after the old lads on the working for the contractors. They're the boys that'll do the job well for you if you look after them. I recorded a few clips there last night about grass measuring, so I'll put them in there now. Right, grassland management 102. Just going to go through a few little things, the different methods of grass measuring and what you'd like your cover to be at the moment. So really the three methods of grass measuring are cutting and weighing with a quadrant, a shears and a weighing scales. You know what your dry matter of the grass is, and you'll get that off, say, pass to base. Your low, say we use the Moore Park figures, and you cut a quadrant, which is 1/4 of a metre squared, weigh it, and then do your calculation. So 1/4 of a metre squared, you must multiply it by 4, then multiply it by 10,000. That gives you the weight you get in the bag by 4 by 10,000. Or maybe your quadrant is 1/10 of a metre squared, multiply by 10, multiply by 10,000. That gives you your kilos of dry matter. And then, so that gives you your kilos of fresh weight per hectare. Then multiply it by, say if your dry matter is 18%, multiply by 0.18. So that's your shears, quadrant and shears. The other option, which is probably the most popular option, is a grasshopper or a plate meter. These are very accurate mid-season when you're hitting the right residuals, getting your grazing residuals down to 4 centimetres and good clean outs. These are very accurate, but early and late in the season or high covers, I don't find them accurate. I don't find them accurate enough for the level of grassland management that we advise on, so we don't use them. And the third method then is eyeballing. This isn't for beginners. This is for people who are grass measuring every week or who are at it with a couple of years. You have to train your eye to this. When I know a dry matter, I can walk into a field and I'll know I'll be within 100, I'd say definitely within 100 if not 50, able to guesstimate the amount of dry matter per hectare. So they're the three methods. Eyeballing is, in my opinion, if you're good at it, by far the most accurate and by far the quickest. But you have to have a lot of experience to be able to eyeball. As I said in last week's video, the optimum mid-season level of dry matter in a cover for grazing is 1500. That is because a ryegrass plant at 17% dry matter with 3 leaves will have a cover of 1500 kilograms of dry matter per hectare. And the optimum time to be grazing a ryegrass plant is at 3 leaves, because once the 4th leaf comes out, the first leaf starts to die off, and then you have lower quality forage in your sward. If you want to be going into covers of 1500, well, that means your average farm cover should be 750, because the paddock you're coming out of today is 0, the paddock you're going into is 1500, so you should have 1500. All your paddocks should be going down long in a nice wedge, and the middle of that wedge will be 750, so hence average farm cover of 750. This time of the year, not so much. You're heading into heavy covers now. The first week in September, you probably want your average farm cover, depending on stocking rate, somewhere in the region of 850 to 900 at the moment. Any heavier than that, in my opinion, regardless of stocking rate, your cleanouts will be too poor. And the reason you build grass now is because, or the reason, I'll refrain that, the reason you're going into heavier covers at the moment is because you want to have a bank of grass on farm now, which you will be eating into between now and probably the 20th of October, or probably the 1st of November. So, but I think if you take your cover too high now with the intention of extending your grazing year, your cleanouts will be too poor and they'll impact your growth for the spring. So ideally at the moment I'd like to be going into covers of say about 1600. This now is a perfect example of a cover you'd like to be going into in the autumn, in my opinion. Now if you put a plate meter on this, it'll probably give you a cover of 2000, which is not in it, because your dry matter isn't 17% at the moment. It's probably closer to 10. I'd imagine, I haven't looked it up, again I should have done that, but I'd imagine your dry matter at the moment is you know when you're used to it, you'll know the dry matter by how easy it breaks. I'd imagine about 12-13%, probably actually a little bit drier than expected. That could be maybe up in 14%. So if you put a plate meter on this, it'll tell you there's about 2000 in it, but I know there isn't. I know because there's a high clover content in this paddock, which will throw it out, and there's a lot of lush grass in this paddock. So and lush grass is lower in dry matter, so it doesn't, your covers are lower than they would look to the naked eye. Your kilos of dry matter per hectare are lower than it would look to the naked eye. So this is a prime example now of what I would like to be going into. Look, like this is 1, 2, 3. So that's a week 1500, it's probably 1400 there, and the heavier patches are up over 2000. So I'd be saying, look, that's bang on about 1600. This is the cover you want to be going into now at the moment, and you'll be hoping to be still going into these covers into late September, and from then on you'll find that the covers you're going into will be getting lower and lower until come the end of the grazing season you'll be going into lighter covers. Sorry about the bulls now, they want to be moved, and I'm in their lovely paddock of 1600 cover. So when a date you need to keep in mind now is the 15th of October. So the 15th of October is the date where, after that, when you graze a paddock from the 15th of October on, you don't go back into that paddock until next spring. So the paddock you graze on the 15th of October is one of the first paddocks you're hoping to go into next spring. Now, that's the boys moved. So to wrap up what we've been through today, the 3 methods of grass measuring are eyeballing, which is my preference, but you need to have a lot of experience to do it. Cutting and weighing, which is what I suggest that anyone getting into grass measuring should do a lot of at the start. And using a plate meter is a good guide, is what I'd call it. Very accurate mid-season, but only a good guide early and late in the year. At the moment, you want to be going into covers of about 1650 to 1700, which will give you an average farm cover at the moment of between 8 and 900. And a date for your diary to keep in mind is the 15th of October. The 15th of October after is the date that from then on, once you've a paddock grazed, you don't go back into it until next spring. So the paddocks you graze between the 15th and the 25th of October are the first paddocks that you should want to graze next spring. I'm going to leave today's video there now. Thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'm actually off there now for the rest of the day. I'm heading to a meeting in Meath. I'm part of the Dairy Bee 500 group, and Aidan Maguire, who's also a member of the group, has a meeting on today. So anyone from that neck of the woods should really make the effort to attend. It's going to be a great meeting. It's a serious farmer, grassland farmer of the year, I think 2022. So it'll be a really informative meeting. So thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. I will see you tomorrow for more Dower House Farms.